Clear vision is important to you. The doctors at the nationally ranked Dean McGee Eye Institute are committed to helping you and your family members achieve your best possible vision. From regular eye exams to the most advanced surgical procedures, Dean McGee is the one source for all your eye care needs. So let the preferred eye care provider of the OKC Thunder help you see more clearly. For an appointment of one of Dean McGee's 5 locations in Oklahoma City, Edmond, or Lawton, visit us at dmei.org. Dean McGee Eye Institute. Vision for life.
You're listening to Late Hits with Bill Leckis and Hall of Fame executive Bill Polian.
Thanks.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Did you know you can get home and away feeds for every MLB, NFL, and college football game on your phone?
I can't believe it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SiriusXM app. Sports the way they're meant to be heard with your hometown announcers just a tap away. Search for your team, then tap the star on the corner of the screen and save it as your favorite.
It is gone! Incredible finish!
And if you love college sports, when the game is on, just search for your school. It's always a home game when you listen to sports on the SiriusXM app. Free for most subscribers.
Is on the line, and SiriusXM will take you to the track for every thrilling turn.
1, 2, 3 cars crashing and colliding.
Sunday at 2 Eastern. 4 drivers enter with equal points, and the highest finisher takes the title.
Hey, it's William Byron. This is Christopher Bell. This is Ryan Blaney. This is Kyle Larson.
And driver-to-crew chatter puts you in the car for every lap.
That's a flag right here, Vegas. Let's get it!
The NASCAR Cup Series Championship live from Phoenix.
Let's go get a championship, baby!
Listen on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio
Channel 90
and on the SiriusXM app.
To hear SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Call this girl dinner. All the viral songs from TikTok's For You page. All on one SiriusXM channel.
Presented by creators like me.
On TikTok Radio.
TikTok Radio.
Listen now on Channel 4 and the SiriusXM app.
Imagine a long road trip where the designated DJ isn't forced to flip from station to station, avoiding commercials and trying desperately to find a signal, where you're not forced to resort to endless rounds of the license plate game to kill time. Stop imagining and start listening to commercial-free music from nearly every genre, coast to coast. Subscribe to SiriusXM, and your music stays with you wherever you hit the interstate or take the back roads. Call 844-711-8800 to activate your radio now.
The city's the home of the business, blowing up online. Hip-Hop Nation connects you to the biggest hits in the game. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you just turn up and vibe. Hip-Hop Nation, commercial-free hip-hop hits. Channel 44 and the SiriusXM app. To hear these channels, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Grande Deportes, bonjour, vini vini vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Johnny of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. The Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people with 29 podcast applications. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Want to be mine? Want to be mine? Want to be my neighbor? Shut up! Man, I'm always trying to do this neighborhood watch program. Now, they told me you either lead, follow, get out of the way. So I try to bring the neighborhood together at 3:30 in the morning. But some people just don't appreciate it. I call them party poopers. You don't have to be a party pooper when you follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 29 podcast applications on Google Alexa. Don't be a party pooper. Google, give me some praise. Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast. Oh my goodness. Amazon Podcast, Good Pods Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, also SoundCloud Podcast. You can get that some praise. iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Geo Savan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa Podcast, YouTube, Hub Opposition Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay Verbal Podcast, Podcast Podyssey, Podcast in Public, and the only one that used to scare me but now it doesn't is allfees.ai. Give that some praise because the rumors are trying to take over. You know, I had done some trick-or-treating last night. I did some trick-or-treating last night, and would you believe some people had the nerve to say, Sir, you're not a kid and you don't have a uniform on. I said, what do you mean? I'm not a kid. I act like a kid. They say that's not enough, sir. I said, I mean I have a uniform on, but trick or treat, you gotta have more than underwear on. I was kind of rushed for time. I didn't have time to get a uniform, so I walked around in my boxer shorts. And some neighbors had the nerve to say, that's not a uniform, sir. I said, give me some praise. I was walking around with some boxers, and some people had the nerve to look at me and say, that's not a uniform, sir. Oh, sir, level war. I want to tell you, if you had a man with boxer shorts knocking your door asking for candy, may lightning strike. I was rushed for time. What am I going to do? I want to give out the Veterans Crisis Hotline number. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones. I look like I was running a 100-yard dash. Oh, that's 100 meters now, Curry. I was in some boxer shorts, and they were good boxer shorts. They had like military stripes. They didn't give me any candy. Veterans Crisis Hotline, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. And I know we all need somebody to lean on, and it's not with somebody who's leaning back. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. I love giving that praise. And then God said, let there be light. I love doing what I do with Big City Sports Podcast. But I love just saying what I do because it's interesting, even on a sugar high. I love the fact, I may not have gotten any candy given to me because, number one, I was walking around in my boxer shorts, and then number two, I didn't even have a bag. I said, just pour it in my hand. And one group, they said, well, why don't you come on inside? I said, no, I don't want to go inside your house, ma'am. Give me some praise without going inside some space lady's house. At the same time, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. And then I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. In our lives, I knew I could use more laughter. And then the commercials are done. I do all my commercials pre-roll. Most hour shows, they do with 3 or 4 pauses. It will have 2 or 3 spots. Mine all go up front. I just keep going and going and going and going. I get energizing money, if that makes sense to you. And then I provide all the stats. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play, which is what the Texas Rangers tried to do to Arizona last night. They said runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. All right. Say hello to my little Rays. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. And then the show goes out to over 29 podcast platforms and then streams on 4 TV devices out of New York City. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And then I've never missed a show since creating Big City Sports with the crew back at Salem Media. Really do appreciate that. So many things I love talking about, football, basketball, and then also got some baseball to talk about. But I love talking about reparations. I've been doing some more research on things that have been brought to my attention that I'll get into also when it comes to reparations because it's such a big thing that's happening right now behind closed doors. We have the Friends of the African Union, Chairman Herschel Daniels Jr., and obviously a lot of things came out about what he came up with as far as there's like $14 trillion that was set aside for descendants of chattel slavery. Obama used some of that money, Trump used some of that money, and Biden has over $10 trillion set aside. And obviously that's for different causes. That information is going to be by Double-O, National Payout Committee of the National Black Wall Street. But it's all part of the Proclamation Order 13985 that President Biden signed on his first day in office. And I want to get into more of that later because it's important that we just not only listen about reparations, is that we champion reparations. And I want to give that some praise. I'm not going to be someone that sits back and waits for it to happen and then say, you know what, I knew was going to happen. I'm also going to talk about Freedmans Bank. There's some things that I want to bring up because it's really important. I love saying all the things that happen that make reparations possible. I want to talk about it before it happens because we know it's going to happen. I'm going to give that some praise for all the lawmakers that are making sure that descendants of chattel slavery are finally treated like descendants of Holocaust and making sure we get our reparations. And that's important to me. You can either lead, follow, and get out of the way. I want to go back to an article that happened. It was by the Associated Press. This is more important to Americans to stimulate the economy than who won a game. I want to thank the Associated Press, Janie Har, an article she wrote on March 29th, 2023. It was about reparations, but she called a sports show. And she called me and I said, how can I help you? And she said, this is Janie Har with the Associated Press. I said, how'd you get my number? And she said, we have our ways. I said, well, how can I help you? She said, I heard you speak, and I want to get your thoughts on reparations. I was speaking at a reparations task force rally in the state capital of California, and she asked me my thoughts on reparations. I said, my thoughts are the same as President Abraham Lincoln. I said, reparations now, reparations forever. That's a fact. Now we have Great Britain talking about it. Prince Charles talking about reparations. We have the Biden administration talking about reparations. Georgetown already pledged over $1 billion for reparations to descendants of chattel slavery of 272 families that helped build Georgetown. So this is not for people who are not well-read. Just keep watching sports and do what Laura Ingraham said. She said, shut up and dribble. Just shut up and dribble. I'm about doing everything in my hands to make sure that I educate the public as much as possible. Everything I say, you can Google it. I'm so emboldened by the things that are happening now. I want to thank, number one, my family legacy from my beautiful mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mama, a beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. My beautiful great-grandfather, Pop, called him, he was a beautiful man, a former military man and former Negro League baseball player, known around his church buddies as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. And for saying, boys, get out of that barn. He was known for saying, measure twice, hammer once. That makes a lot more sense once your fence is about 5 feet short. You measure twice and hammer once. But sometimes boys, they want to hammer once and measure twice. That makes sense to you. And then my beautiful grandmother, Muddy, a beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. She was a seer. She could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and their future. And I still have some of that in me because there's a lot of things I've been saying and they've been coming true. Give that some praise. She didn't wait until things happened before she said it. She could see things. Nowadays they call them psychics. And she still helps me to this day and probably helping me with this reparations that more and more people, even Prince Charles, is talking about it. I want to also thank my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful person. A seer could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. She started a Head Start program and a food program, and then she also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Come on. As a beautiful, intelligent black woman, the first woman in Central California to help coach an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship. And it was an all-men's league, and all the coaches were white. And this wasn't that far out of Jim Crow. Can you imagine all the garbage that she had to put up with? But she's smart and filled with knowledge on how to coach. And she kept winning and won a championship. I love giving my mama praise. And then I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I've ever met in my life. And then on my father's side, my beautiful grandfather, Albert Curry, a former pastor. He had 3 churches. He owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. He also owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation and the Freedmans Bureau I'm going to talk about on Big C Sports Podcast that every person should listen to, especially black men. No more shucking and jiving and saying, oh, they won't let us have nothing. The problem is a lot of our black brethren, they say nothing because they're all afraid of Laura Ingraham. I'm going to ask Laura Ingraham from Fox Sports, can you please tell our black brethren to not shut up? Tell them not to shut up anymore. Tell them you were just joking because a lot of them are afraid. I had no idea how big your stick was, if that makes sense to you. And then I really do appreciate my granddaddy and then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, working side by side with my granddaddy with the 3 churches. And then the 2 gas stations in Oakland. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway at 10 o'clock at night. And I was on my way to do something and I felt someone touch my forehead. And she said, what are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations. And then she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. That's the same voice that's saying reparations now, reparations forever. And it's happening as we are breathing. And I'm so grateful to God for it. I'm so grateful. We just got to get a few more people to do the same thing. And then I remember my beautiful father, who former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure airplanes can fly high. So we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to a size extent. In the Air Force, my father's roommate was the late Al Freeman Jr., who played the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in one of my favorite movies, Malcolm X, that was written and produced by the great Spike Lee and acted by my favorite actor, the great Denzel Washington. Imagine when Spike Lee does a movie that says, reparations now, reparations forever. Imagine when he does it. He's going to do it after it passes. I'm doing it before it happens. So give BC Sports some praise. What if our beautiful, intelligent, erudite black men and women would do this? Oprah Winfrey was on a program selling something on ABC News. You already got billions of dollars. What if you help other black folks say reparations now, reparations forever? Come on, Oprah, you can do it. We're not going to live forever. I want to thank my beautiful brother Todd. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Love my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader. One of the best people I ever met in my life. And my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, in 3.5 years from a major university. Set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. We went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before. They called us the Dream Team. I still get the letter from station management. It's so powerful. To me, it's very powerful. You can be anything you want to be, Daisy. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And always they helped me set up when college coaches came to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. That's so powerful to me. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. And then my beautiful handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a senior in college. Can be anything you want to be. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers to look up stats for the Big C Sports podcast on players and teams. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. Actually on 31, but I don't mention the others yet until things are ironed out. And then one day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. It comes up on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Give that some praise. Because he said it before it was even on the air. Like I'm saying reparations now, reparations forever. I'm saying it before you see it. Some of what my grandparents have, I have it too. They can see things. Oftentimes I can see things in a person and God reveals it to me shortly after that. I trust my gut tremendously. And more things are happening because of that gut feeling. And I just give God praise. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast, I have no scripts. That's apparent by now, Curry. I have no 3-day teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. I do this self by myself. With my higher self, me and God. I want to praise the California Reparations Task Force. This is more important than any sports league in the universe because they're taking care of what was promised through the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm going to talk about Freedman's Bank before I get into some sports. But I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force in the chair, Camila Moore, brilliant. I want to give her praise. Dr. Amy C. Brown, Vice Chair, brilliant. I want to give her some praise. I want to thank the #1 Senator in the United States of America, Senator Stephen Bradford out of California. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's also responsible for name, image, and likeness that helps college athletes get paid, and also the Ebony Alert that lets black kids get found with the same resources that white kids get through the Amber Alert. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepping. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Assembly Member Reginald Jones-Zoyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Dr. Shell Groves. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. And Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's brilliant. Part of the California Reparations Task Force. And he already said that as a Japanese American, he already got reparations. I want to give him all praise as we work for descendants of chattel slavery. I want to thank also, this is CNN, proud sponsors of Big C Sports, the source, Caitlin Collins, CNN weeknights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. I need $6 million, and I need it right now, if that makes sense to you. Oh my goodness, I want to thank Double O, part of the National Payout Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, sent me this order, Executive Order 13985, that was sent by the President Biden administration, one of his first signature moments in office. An order on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. Give that some praise. There's so many things that are so important that I want to talk about. It's so important. I want to get into something that every one of our black brethren, maybe someday they'll listen to this if they won't listen to Big C Sports. If you Google, listen up, college students and instructors and high school kids, Google Freedman's Bank, Freedmens Bank. It's a United States bank, also known as Freedman's Savings and Trust Company. Freedman's Bank in full, Freedman's Savings and Trust Company, It was chartered by the United States Congress in March of 1865 to provide a place for former slaves to safely store their money. After several successful years in which freedmen deposited more than $57 million. In 1865. It collapsed in 1874 as a result of mismanagement and fraud. I said fraud! The bank's failure not only robbed, it robbed many black Americans of their savings, but also had a severe psychological impact on those same citizens, causing many to give up hopes and dreams that went along with their savings and bringing about a general distrust of financial institutions for years to come. It was the United States Bank, set up by Congress. Remember when Silicon Valley Bank could not pay its depositors down in Silicon Valley just, I think it was last year or this year, and those white citizens down in Silicon Valley in California and down in the South Bay, one of the wealthiest counties in the country, one of the wealthiest regions of the country. And the United States government came in and made all the money good, didn't they? They told all those white people, we're going to give you your money back. And they did. When the black freed slaves deposited money in the Freedman's Bank and the white people stole it, the government, they didn't give that money back to those black families. The need for a bank, we don't need no reparations. The need for a bank, imagine if every white person went to the bank and all their money was gone. Couldn't pay your bills, couldn't buy food, couldn't do anything. You'd be down at the bank asking for your money. And the government come to you and say, we can't find your money. They've never done that to white people. Never. They've done it to black people. And that's why reparations are so important. The need for I know you want to watch the game, but none of you athletes can get paid without your money going to a bank. Now, what if every NFL player went to get their payment when it's deposited into their bank account, or NBA player, or baseball player, and the bank told you, sorry, but there's no money in the bank. What? Yeah, just pull yourself up by your bootstrap. And that's why it's disappointing that many of our black brethren, 80% of the NBA black men, they say nothing to get Adam Silver to push for reparations for descendants of child slavery. The same way we do for our Holocaust brethren. We get that praise. They should get their money. But why aren't anybody in my best English championing for reparations for descendants of child slavery? Because the need for a bank for freed black Americans became evident during the American Civil War. African American soldiers in the Union Army who were often denied access to conventional banks were often taken advantage of by swindlers or squandered the pay they received as soldiers. It became clear to some sympathetic military officers, as well as the advocates for civil rights, that African Americans needed a bank to ensure that money was safe. And the Congress created Freedman's Bank. And they stole the money! Imagine going to your bank and the money's gone. They tell you, we can't find your money, Mr. Jones. Keeping up with the Joneses. We can't find your money, Mrs. Jones! They did that to black Americans. And the black Americans helped the Union Army win the Civil War. And they stole the money! John W. Alvord, a congressional minister, and Anson M. Sperry, a United States Army paymaster, individually identified that need and attempted to foster the creation of such an institution in early 1865. Remember, it was 1862 and 1863 that the same United States government gave over 276 million acres of land to white people and even white Europeans. They told black Americans, no! Thanks for helping us win the Civil War, but no, we're not going to help you. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. They only help white people and even white Europeans. They're doing it now where they're giving immigrants money and access to medical care. In 2023! And they say black Americans are the most likely to become homeless or unemployed in the same great country that we fought every war for. Oh, but they just want to play with balls? Just tell them touchdown, home run, three-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. They make a few black people wealthy, put them on television with footballs, basketballs, and baseball, and and Laura Ingram was right. I'll give that white lady some credit. She said, shut up! And dribble. And most of our black men, they listen to her. I mean, I was insulted by it, but maybe she knows more about black men than I knew. Hardly anybody talks about reparations. 1865, Alfred's efforts, they culminated in the legislation passed by Congress on March 3rd that incorporated the Freedmans Savings and Trust Company as a non-profit financial institution. And then it was President Abraham Lincoln immediately signed the bill into law. You hear that, President Joe Biden? He immediately signed the bill into law. And Sperry began working for the bank shortly thereafter. According to the charter of the Freedmans Bank, the money deposited by black Americans was to be invested in stocks, bonds, treasury notes, or other securities of the United States. You ever hear of Wall Street, also built on black bodies? Unlike conventional banks, the Freedmans Bank was forbidden to make loans. It operated as a sort of cooperative. Each depositor owned a share of the bank's assets in proportion to his or her deposits. A board of 50 white trustees was named to manage the bank's affairs. They were all white! And they stole the money! At first, the Freedmans Bank, you got to listen to this. I know you want to see if Curry's going to drop 30 tonight against Golden State. At the Freedmans Bank, the first Freedmans Bank was a success during the Reconstruction period. It opened branches in a number of southern cities with large black populations, including Richmond, Virginia, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, Louisiana, Vicksburg, Mississippi, and Houston, Texas. The bank eventually had more than 30 branches in over a dozen states and the District of Columbia, as well as about 72,000 depositors. Some individual accounts contained only pennies, but the existence of the account showed that freed blacks were trying to get financial security. They were planning for their future. Despite a promising start, Freedman's Bank was soon in trouble, managed by all white people. In 1870, amendment to the bank's charter changed its loan and investment policy, allowing it to speculate in stocks, bonds, real estate, and unsecured loans. By early 1874, the bank was on the verge of collapse to overexpansion, mismanagement, abuse, and fraud. In March of that year, listen up, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. In an effort to reestablish confidence in the bank, its white trustees resigned. And the well-known and highly respected African-American leader by the name of Frederick Douglass, who helped craft the Emancipation Proclamation, became the bank's president. Douglass invested $10,000 of his own money in the bank in an effort to instill confidence in the institution. Within only a few months, however, the grave condition of the financial institution became clear. In 1874, June of 1874, Frederick Douglass recommended that Congress close the bank. The bank collapsed on June 29, 1874, with many depositors losing their entire life savings. The bank's assets were not protected by the federal government, and Congress refused to reimburse depositors. I'm talking about the Congress of the United States! Many depositors continued to petition Congress for compensation, and eventually about half of them received more than half of their money back. Still others received nothing. That same United States Congress right now is considering reparations. You just stole all the money! Give it back! They didn't do that to white people. I just told you when Silicon Valley Bank couldn't pay the white depositors, the federal government came in with the help of Congress and President Biden and made sure they all got their money back. The only difference is they were all white, for the most part. Although the collapse of the Freedmans Bank was devastating to thousands of African Americans, the records left behind by the bank have provided an invaluable source for genealogists. The records are the largest single source of lineage-linked African American records known to exist. I'll get into that more and more, because Big C Sports is different. And what if our other brethren, instead of arguing about who's bigger, stronger, and faster, what if we all petition Congress like Frederick Douglass did? He helped craft the Emancipation Proclamation. That's how we got our freedom. He worked with President Abraham Lincoln and said, give them some freedom if they help the Union win the Civil War. In Congress, they acquiesced to some of them. But right now, we have white men that give black men jobs and say, don't you dare say anything. Shut up! When it comes to get what we got, which is money. Freedmen and former slaves set free. You got to understand this. In ancient Athens, former slaves bore no stigma, and some rose to positions of political or economic power, like many of our athletes today. During the later Hellenistic period, however, some Greek communities, they passed laws providing separate regulations and restrictions for former slaves. To the Greek, citizenship was a hierarchy privilege, thus barred to freemen. But under Roman law, a manumitted slave might become a citizen if the proper legal form was followed. You got to understand that. There's money that should have been passed on to black communities that was stolen. And Congress did nothing to get that money back. And that same institution of Congress right now, they're considering reparations. And they can only find Big C Sports willing to talk about it. That's why I say give me some praise. Imagine if we got some of our other black brethren who are not afraid, and some decent white people that say, you know what? This is the right thing to do. We have, the NFL says, end racism. Well, end it then! How do you end it? You end it with money. That money that was stolen from Freedman's Bank, it was deposited by black Americans. They told you, I just told you can Google it. You got to understand what I'm speaking. I'm speaking the truth. The records are the largest single source of lineage-linked African-American records known to exist in the history of the United States. They know who the ancestors and the descendants of that money are. They know it. But they gave that money to white people. That's like having an insurance policy and you have your beneficiaries named, you pass away, and somebody else gets the money, not your beneficiaries. That's called fraud. That's called embezzlement. That's forgery. The money went to people that were white. You wonder why the Kerner Commission said there's a $14 trillion gap between black wealth and white wealth. Not only did the government give white people everything, land, resources, minerals, oil, money, grants, it also stole the money that the freed black slaves put into the Freedman's Bank created by Congress. And they gave that money to white people. For the land of the free and the home of the brave. That country. And they they told us, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. We just stole everything you got. Stolen from the African continent. Lynchings, rapes, murder, selling of children from 1619 to 1865, and then 100 years of Jim Crow laws, separate and unequal, redlining. At some point in time, you would think the devil would be very proud. But we say that we're a Christian nation. What person in Congress is still debating whether we owe reparations now, reparations forever? So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Imagine when we get other black men that are not afraid. It's just a shame. Yeah, reparations are due. It really is. I want to do my part in just saying give Big C Sports some praise. You can't say that I don't have the best sports show out there. And I don't know what it would take to get other black men and women to start, at least give 5 minutes to it. The same way you give an argument on what person is bigger, stronger or faster, you would have to think that the person that signs your paycheck is the devil's child if they don't let you talk about what I just talked about. There's enough wealth in the black community to create your own network. I'm doing it, and I'm asking for $6 billion. I mean $6 billion! And I'm going to get it somehow, some way. I already know that. I told you Big C Sports will become a household name in the world of sport. You can get that some praise. It already is. I've already talked to members that are running for the Democratic Republic of Congo on my show. I've had other people, politicians, very powerful people that are willing to sit down and talk with me. You know why? Because they Google what I do and they realize this man's real. At the same time, not everybody's for me. There's some people trying to tear me down as I'm breathing. And they suck! At the same time, it doesn't matter to me. God's on my side. None of us are going to live forever. But what I'm doing, you can document it, what I'm doing. I've had my ups and downs in life like anybody else. But I speak the truth. I want to get into week praise of week 9 NFL power rankings. And it's a shame that none of our black men that play in the NFL have the balls to do what I'm doing, even support what I'm saying. Oh, they do it in private. Man, we proud of you, Big C. Man, you something else, man. We proud. Don't be proud of me. Be proud of your grandparents that made sure you didn't starve to death. Being raised in Jim Crow. I got the NFL power rankings because that's what a lot of us only want to talk about sports in public. Afraid of the white man. Oh, what Massa gonna say if I told Massa that we want to honor President Abraham Lincoln? He was also white. Well, Big C, you kind of sound angry. You go to the money, you have all your money gone, and you tell me you don't sound angry. United States Congress, they let all of the black depositors' money get stolen by white people. And you not angry? You call the bank and see if your account's frozen and you don't go down to the bank after you have a heart attack. And they did it to the masses of black Americans with impunity. And some have the gall right now to say, oh, we're going to study reparations. We don't believe we need to pay reparations to the descendants of child slavery. Slavery ended over 150 years ago. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, how in the hell is he still in power? It's crazy. But somebody got to say, you know what, right is right. They've done the Tuskegee experiment where they injected over 400 black men with syphilis and let them go home and cohabit with their wives and girlfriends to see how they can treat syphilis so they can have a better medication for white people. In this country! We just gave Ukraine over $100 billion. $100 billion. And we're going to determine if the descendants of child slavery are due reparations. That money that was stolen in a bank that was set up by Congress, it was stolen by white people and passed on to white families. I'm not indicting every white person, but every white person in this country, they benefited from racism. Even the dumb ones. And you know it's true. But you got to understand, when the Civil War was won by the Union because of the help of black soldiers, some of those white Southern Confederates, they still had offspring. And some of them got into law. And some of them are in Congress. And they know what they have was stolen. They know they're sitting on unclean hands, unclean bank accounts. You think they care? The thief comes but to kill, steal, and destroy. The devil had children too, a fallen angel. What are you going to do about it, Congress? NFL football, I got the Big C's power rankings. It's just my story, and I'm going to stick with it. It doesn't please everybody. You got to give me some praise. One of these days, I'm going to find out like one football player for each team that stands up and says, you know what, Commissioner, Big C Sports is right. Roger Goodell, we need to champion reparations for descendants of child slavery. The NFL is the most powerful sports league in the universe because of black men. They just need to have the Wizard of Oz moment where what was it, the lion that won us some courage? Yeah, the lion won it courage. The size of the grain of a mustard seed. I got number 10 in Big C's NFL power rankings. I got the Seattle Seahawks, no longer sleepless in Seattle. When I think about Geno Smith, he began the season exhibiting a lot of accuracy and efficiency, and he looked like his first Pro Bowl season in 2022. But he kind of hit a rough patch. But I'm telling you, he might not have any problems if they can keep DK Metcalf healthy. Because that brother's amazing. Like Jerry Rice, but a little bit bigger, stronger, and faster. In Seattle, they don't have the Legion of Boom, but they do have that great crowd up there at Lumen Field in Seattle, and I got them Big C's number 10. You want to give them some praise? Maybe they'll start championing reparations the way they championed the 12 men. I got number 9 Buffalo Bills. They're 5-3. It's been up and down for Josh Allen out of Fireball, California, and the Buffalo Bills offense, but Allen's leading the league in completion percentage. 72% completion percentage, and is 4th in passing yards at 2,165 yards, and 3rd in touchdowns with 17. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I hope he can stay healthy because he's a really, really solid player. And before, if I don't want to miss what I want to announce, the college basketball community lost Bobby Knight today. I want to offer thoughts and prayers to his family, one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball with the University of Indiana, and thoughts and prayers to him and his family. I just want to make sure I get that in because my show runs so tight. I want to get to, and again, thoughts and prayers to the Bobby Knight family, if that makes sense to you. Give him some thoughts and prayers. I got number 8 in Big C's NFL power rankings, the Detroit Lions. Man, they look good over the Raiders over Monday Night Football. Jared Goff out of Moran Catholic High School, and also, I'm telling you, played at Cal Berkeley. Jared Goff is he's on a tear right now, one of the best stretches of his career. He already has a Super Bowl appearance with the LA Rams at the time. They lost to New England. But with the Lions right now, they're the top dog, or maybe I should say the top lion in the NFC North standings. And right now, they're playing like they want to go to the playoffs and they want to go back. Goff has 2,174 passing yards and 12 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions in his first 8 games. I got them number 8 in Big C's NFL power rankings. I got number 7 in Big C's NFL power rankings. It's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. I still like this team based on what they just did recently to make another run at a Super Bowl, but they got to get healthy. The San Francisco 49ers, because there's gold in them their hills. I got the 49ers quarterback, Brock Purdy. He's done more good than bad this season, but he's passed for 2,033 yards, 12 touchdowns, completes 68% of his passes. Little bit concussed, I think. 2 rushing touchdowns. He was ideal for the 49ers in his first 5 weeks, getting the ball to different playmakers. And they got to get Deebo Samuel back. Trent Williams got to get back. And now they just made their defense better. And I think that's going to be fine once they get everything worked out, if that makes sense to you. I got number 6 in Big C's NFL power rankings. Oh, my goodness. You got to think about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 6-2. Touchdown, Trevor Lawrence. His stats may not be great, but he has 1,935 yards passing, 9 touchdowns. He does have 4 interceptions, but he's playing good football right now. He had a passer rating of at least 90 or better in his past 5 games. And then Travis Etienne, his teammate over at Clemson, is also great when he has the ball in his hands. But this is the team that's really making a meteoric rise over the last 2 years. I put them at number 6 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I got number 5 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. Believe it or not, I got the Dallas Cowboys. How about those Cowboys? That's what I call him. I call him touchdown Dak Prescott. People love him or hate him. I like Dak Prescott. The past 2 games, he's done more with his legs, not just with his running, but buying time outside of the pocket to make off-script passes. He's gotten more comfortable with Mike McCarthy as a play caller, and he's been able to find his way into certain situations, getting first downs for the Cowboys. He has 3 games this year which he completed at least 80% of his passes. I like what Dak Prescott is doing. Whenever they win, they say, well, he should win. If they don't win, they blame it on Dak Prescott. But I like the way he's playing the Cowboys right now, number 5 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I got number 4 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I got touchdown Patrick Mahomes. Touchdown Patrick, there's no place like Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs. That good old boy could end up being, he's a magician, but they had a bad game at Denver. He's tied for the league lead with 8 interceptions, not good at all, which is on pace for 17 interceptions, and that would easily surpass his worst career, 13, with 15 touchdown passes. Touchdown Patrick Mahomes is on pace to get the Chiefs right back into the AFC Championship as a champion of the AFC West. But right now, I don't have as much confidence in them the way they collapsed at Denver. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 3 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I got It's a Bird, It's a Plane, No, I'm Superman. I got the Baltimore Ravens and Superman Lamar Jackson. He has a 5-year, $260 million contract. So he already got his reparations. He signed this offseason in his first year in Todd Monken's office. Lamar is one of the more accurate passers in the NFL, completing 71% of his passes. That's 3rd best in the NFL. He's still dangerous with his legs. He can extend plays. He can throw big downfield, deep downfield. His 380 yards rushing tops all quarterbacks in the NFL. And his playmaking ability is why Baltimore is tied for the best record in the AFC. They hold a 1.5 game lead in the AFC North, and it's all because of Superman Lamar Jackson. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 2 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. It's just my opinion, and people say everyone has an opinion. But I don't know if I want to believe it all the time, but I will say they've earned it. The Tua Tagovailoa, he leads the Miami Dolphins in the NFL passing yards at 2,416 yards and 18 touchdowns through only 8 games, which has him firmly in the NFL MVP running. This kid came out of St. Louis High School in Honolulu, Hawaii, went to Alabama, and then drafted by the Miami Dolphins. He had some concussion issues last year, but the offseason, his jiu-jitsu training has paid off so far. He hasn't been hit very often, and when he is contacted, he's been able to protect himself from injury. It's the type of year that should lead to a good contract in the offseason, as long as he can stay healthy. Tua Tagovailoa, if you recall him at Alabama, he came on to replace Jalen Hurts in a national championship game that Alabama went on and won. But not so fast, my friend. Jalen may just get the last laugh. I got number 1 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. Drum roll, please. The city of brotherly love. They're known as the Eagles. They fly high because they take themselves lightly. They're 7-1. Jalen, please don't hurt him, is coming off probably his best performance of the season. He completed 76% of his throws and had 4 touchdown passes to push the Eagles past the Washington Commanders. It wasn't his smoothest of rides to this point. He's still playing through left knee pain. At the same time, he has thrown 8 interceptions. Got to clean up on that. But being picked off just 6 times in the last season. So you got to cut down on the interceptions. But the Eagles right now, with their defense, he's made a number of dazzling plays, and their defense turns the ball back to them time and time again. I like the Philadelphia Eagles right now. But at the end of the year, I'm still saying there's gold in them there hills. It's my story that I'm sticking with it, and that's Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I want to give that some praise, all fair in love and war. I want to turn, we got some Major League Baseball also, the World Series. You're looking at the Texas Rangers. They're up 3-1 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they may just be the World Series champions. by the end of this week, if that makes sense to you. But I want to give them praise down in Texas. They say the stars shine bright deep in the night, deep in the heart of Texas. And maybe Bruce Fortune will get another World Series, if that makes sense to you. But I want to go to the NBA. I know it's early, but the NBA right now leaders, Big C's thoughts, in points per game in the NBA. I'm going to do the top 5. I got De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings. That good boy is averaging 31.3 points per game. Has a little hitch in his giddy up right now, so he's not going to play tonight after Golden State Warriors. But that good boy can play. He's doing his thing. Number 4 in Big C's NBA points per game leaders, the great Donovan Mitchell, averaging 32 points a game. He's doing his thing for Cleveland. And then number 3 is Cam Thomas for the Brooklyn Nets. That good boy's averaging 33 points a game for Brooklyn. And then I got a guy, he kind of shoots like me. He kind of dribbles like me. He has no problem shooting outside a 3-point range. Number 2 in Big C's so far, NBA scoring leaders, Stephen Curry. That good boy is dropping 33.5 points a game. And he's amazing. He has the ability to, he reminds me of how I played when I used to play with video games. But he does it on a real court. Yeah, there's a difference, Curry. I know there's a different Curry, but we spell our same names the same. We got the same spelling on the last name. He may have a little bit more money in the bank than I do for now, but I'm going to get that $6 billion. But Steph Curry, one of the best shooters ever. Every time he makes a 3, he increases the record in the NBA. He's the all-time 3-point scoring leader. And every time he hits a 3, the record increases. And he still has 5 years left in his juice. I love giving him praise. Right now he's number 2 in scoring. And that's amazing because he has so much on his plate. I got number 1 so far in Big C's season scoring leaders, the great Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks, averaging 39 points a game. So you know he's not passing the ball much, but the great Luka Doncic, he's a dominant player. When he learns to play better defense, he'll be even more great scorer on offense. But 39 points a game, that good boy's doing his thing down in Dallas. I want to give them NBA players some praise. And before I close out on NBA, sometimes in order to get a put-back basket, you need a rebounder. I got number 5 in Big C's NBA basketball rebounders, Jalen Duren for Detroit Bad Boys, 13.3 a game. Number 4, the great Rudy Gobert from Minnesota, 13.3 a game. The great Anthony Davis for the LA Lakers, 13.8 per game. Give them all some praise. Number 2, DeAndre Ayton for Portland, rebounding 14.8 rebounds per game. And number 1 in the NBA for rebounds per game, Domantas Sabonis, light the beam, at 15 rebounds per game. That good boy is doing his thing. And finally, I will close out with NBA assists per game. The leaders, number 5, Dennis Schroeder for Toronto, 8.8 assists per game. Number 4, the great LaMelo Ball out of Charlotte. He's at 9 per game. Number 3, the great Luka Doncic at 9.7 per game in assists per game. The great Trae Young out of Atlanta, Georgia at 10 per game. Number 1 in Big C's NBA assists per game leaders, Tyrese Halliburton at 12.3 per game, all shared another award. And what would NBA basketball be without a block party? Number 5, Scotty Barnes, Toronto, 2.5 per game. Number 4, Jaren Jackson with Memphis, 2.8 blocks per game. Number 3, Chet Holmgren, OKC at 2.8 per game. Number 2, Anthony Davis for the LA Lakers, 2.8 per game. And blocks per game, number 1 is the great Joel Embiid for Philadelphia, 3 blocks per game. Well, that's my story, and I'm digging with it. You want to give them all some praise? Hopefully, they'll all start championing what President Abraham Lincoln said. He said, reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm digging with it. Well, as I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because Mothers Against Drunk Drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love drink and drive. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story. And I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly. You sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because listening to the Big C Sports makes me want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And it's hard for me to not sit like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's my story, and I'm thinking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage on their own. In fact, if you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911, because things change when the police show up. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage. I also want you to Google Freedman's Bank and realize that black Americans are robbed by a bank that Congress established. That same Congress right now is considering reparations. Should they pay back the money? The answer is yes! As I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. And now, we take the time to honor President Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president, when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, NFL and NBA, I know baseball won't do it. Champion what President Abraham Lincoln said, and do it for Freedman's Bank when they said reparations now, reparations forever. Imagine waking up and all your money is gone. That's what happened to black Americans when Congress created Freedman's Bank. Remember, all white people, they stole the money. In Congress right now, they are voting to pass reparations as we are breathing. Do the right thing. Do what Abraham Lincoln said. He said, reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.